welcome back one and all for part 2 of what I'm calling the Transformers Inferno series. In part 1, we went back in time and we took a look at this guy. It's the Universe 2008 version of Inferno. But now, we're going to focus on his newest iteration, that being this guy. This is the Transformers Power of the Primes Wave 3 Voyager class Autobot Inferno. And he is going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, it's fantastic that you are here, spending a little bit of time and having a visit. I'm going to ask you to check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, and L, and me everywhere. Like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. It helps me out so much. You couldn't believe it. And this is Inferno, and I like him, but I feel like that this body type is more suited to the Protectobot, there, hotspot. I get it. It's like when we get a Bumblebee. You know, you get Bumblebee, 9 chances out of 10 you're going to get Cliffjumper. You get a Starscream, 9 chances out of 10 you're going to get Skywarp and Thundercracker. Well, if you get one Autobot fire engine, you're probably going to get the other. In fact, the Universe mold was repainted blue to give us a hotspot. Well, now our blue hotspot has been repainted to give us this guy. And of course, there is a new head sculpt. It's not a bad figure, though, by any stretch of the imagination. And in fact, it does a few things probably better than the Universe 2008 one does. It has a fantastic head sculpt, it has tremendous articulation, and perhaps most importantly, it has a ladder on the back just as he probably should have. But then the robot silhouette seems a little off to me. On the flip side from that, I think he's the right shade of red, a nice, bright, vibrant red. Maybe something could have been done about this chest piece. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Anyway, enough of me kind of babbling back and forth about his good points and his bad points. Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at him. Alright, boys and girls, children of all ages, here we go. Looking at part 2 of our Inferno series, and of course this is the Power of the Primes Voyager class Inferno, part of Wave 3. In part 1 I looked at this guy. It was the classic, or sorry, the Universe 2008 version of the mold. I'll make a few comparisons as we go through here. I'll take note of a couple of things as we go through here, but of course the focus is going to be on this guy, so as always we're going to start out looking at the box. Now, this time, however, the box is actually of particular interest to us. And here we have a box, and normally I say it's a box, and I show his combined form here on the side, whatever that's called, and over here we have the symbols for the primes, and of course the product shot on the back. But take note, if you will, of the chest here compared to down here, and not just the chest but the shoulder. I'm going to kind of focus in on that section a little bit because I have a couple of comments I want to make about it. Now, in case you're unaware, this art is actually a depiction of the chest and shoulder piece of Onslaught, part of Bruticus, and you'll notice that the shape within the chest is basically just blacked out as if there's a windshield there. And we know that it's the shoulder piece because you'll notice the little piece curved down here on the side. When we get to some comparisons, I'll actually point those differences out on the figure. Had we gotten that use of the mold for this figure, I think we would have had an even better representation of the character of Inferno. And just like all of the Voyager class figures in this line, we have a foot that's, you know, called a buckler because they don't want to call it a foot on an arm. And of course you can take this Enigma of combination, the Autobot Enigma, and this one is just black with some blue paint on it, and it can go in the foot. So, you know, that looks great. Or of course you can put a Prime Master in there, whatever suits your fancy. And of course we get 2 of these buckler feet thing, we get 1 Enigma. However, unlike others in this line, we get a bonus. We get 2 of these blasters. These, of course, are exactly the same color and all that came with Protectabot Hotspot in, about 2015. But hey, it's like 2 bonus blasters. Who can complain about that? And they do look nice. I mean, they're sculpted fine. It kind of looks like a hose here, like they probably blast water. We have instructions. I don't know if they're any good because this is the exact same mold as Hotspot. If you know how to change that, you know how to change this. And courtesy of Quintus, we have the ever popular collector card, which shows us how nice the use of the Onslaught mold could have been. I think that that looks phenomenal. I would easily give the paint apps for that a 9.5. It is fantastic. Speaking of Quintus, since this is Quintus Inferno, I was a bit surprised with what the power was that he gets. He gets to like basically place minicons that work like fire hydrants to quench flames. Who knew that Quintus was so involved in preventing forest fires? I don't know, we should all be preventing forest fires, you know? You know, that's just good common sense. And at long last, here we have Inferno. I will note right now that this isn't mine. This is on loan to me. Friend of the channel, Paul, is letting me take a look at it. I greatly appreciate him doing so. Yeah, I guess we'll kind of decide if I'm in for this guy right now or not. A couple of comparisons here. Well, there he is. And there's the earlier use of the exact same mold, being Hotspot. Now I think the silhouette and the kind of like body styling is pretty much perfect for Hotspot. It's a bit of a stretch, I think, for Inferno. That being said, and I've said this before, if you get, you know, a mold made of one of the Autobot fire engines, it's probably going to get a reuse as the other one. It happened with the 2008 mold, except that time we started off with Inferno and ended up with a Hotspot. This time it's the other way around. This is a great figure, and truth is, I actually went back. Now I looked at Hotspot way back in episode 35. Again, another example of me not knowing what in the heck I'm doing. But I did go back and I looked at that footage, and I took note of what his marks were. We'll see how Inferno measures up. I'll also note that out of package, Hotspot's knees were mistransformed. Inferno's are not. If anything, I find Inferno's knees to be better and easier to handle. Exact same here. The only thing remolded is the head. Now, that being said, also directly related to this is this guy. This, of course, is the Combiner Wars Onslaught. And I looked at Onslaught in episode 82. I knew a little tiny bit more about what I was doing, but still not very much. Again, I went back, I took note of the marks I gave Onslaught, and actually I compared Onslaught with the FOC Onslaught at the time, the Fall of Cybertron Onslaught. And this guy is head and shoulders better. But on the package for Inferno, it is definitely this use of the mold. Why do we know that? Because this chest section right here that actually has detailing in it in silver and a little bit of red and peach, I guess, peach. That detailing right there is just blacked out. This very easily could work on the front up right here as a windshield. As well, the shoulders are different because on Inferno and Hotspot we just have a little piece right here at the shoulder that flips up or down? Flips down, there you go. That just flips down to reveal the combiner peg. We'll see that in a bit. But over on this guy, we actually have these extra pieces that you need to flip out and flip down. They're noted in the image on the box. And I think they would have helped give the more kind of squared off look, bulky look that Inferno really sort of needs. So I think this would have been the better reuse than just a straight up repaint of Hotspot. Just my personal opinion. That is totally my own thought on aesthetics. That is not an objective criticism of the figure. It's just a subjective thought that I had about what I think sort of looks right. So, taking that out of it, what do we think objectively speaking, of this set of paint apps, because we're going to measure this guy as we always do with paint apps, posability, playability, and transformation. Well, the paint apps, it's his colors that are, I mean, they're accurate for that. They're definitely his colors. I wish the thighs were red. I wish the bicep was red, because in the animation they were red. He has two hands. One of them should be like a kind of a blaster, like sort of thing. Now, to be fair, the Universe 2008 has two hands, but this thing on his arm, I can sort of buy it as like, that's the blaster where this hand is. Like, you know, it's a stretch, but I can buy it. This guy doesn't have that. But, to be fair, he does come with a whole bunch of accessories. And I do think that that's rather cool. So, we're going to kind of see how the accessories can go on this guy in robot mode first before we start grading anything. Think about the paint apps, because I'm after saying a few things that I'd like to have changed. The blasters that he comes with, they can just go in his hands. I mean, same thing that we did with Hotspot, you know, one there and another one should be able to go over here. I'm making this look a lot harder than it really needs to be. And what about the bucklers? Because where this is really a Combiner Wars mold, we don't have slots on the arm for the bucklers. But what we do have is space back here and a slot right there. So me personally, I tend to just put the bucklers on the back here. And the bucklers do have an ankle tilt. That just fell out. They do have an ankle tilt, so because they have an ankle tilt, really you can sort of position them back there however, you know, however you see fit, I suppose. But for me, I just do that. That's not what you're told to do, you know, according to the instructions, but that's what I do. According to the instructions, you'll take that off, and we'll take that off. According to the instructions, you should take the blaster, and the blaster has another peg here on the side, and you should place that peg down to a hole right here on the top of the, like, foot thing. Apparently it fits in there like that, and I guess there's a way you're supposed to, oh, there's a handle down under here. Look at that handle down under the foot thing. Maybe other people knew that. I didn't. I just realized that now. Not that it wants to fit in Inferno's hand very well, though. There. Whew. And both of them are supposed to look like that. I guess that's kind of cool, I suppose, but still, you know, I'll even say this. If you don't want it in the hand, but you do like this sort of huge blaster thing, I guess you could come back here to the back and do something like that and put one on each side. You know, that works. Taking this one and putting that there. You know, I guess you could do something like that, so they're sort of up over his shoulders, kind of. You know, it's an option, I suppose. But we're going to take those off for now. Okay, let's start giving this guy some grades. So, the paint apps. I don't look at it and immediately think Inferno. The paint apps are fine, but for me, as a representation of the character of Inferno, I've got to give it about a 7. Like, it's one of those, like, if I squint and look at it, like, yeah, maybe, but that's only because the colors are spot on and the head sculpt is fantastic. Speaking of the head sculpt, here's a closer look at that, and isn't it beautiful? I think that that is a really nice job, and those eyes really pop brightly. So we have a 7. Now, like I said, had we used that other version of the mold, it would have been a 9.5 as far as I'm concerned, but a 7 because I see this and I see Hotspot. Not that it's bad, it's just, it's not quite Inferno to me. The Universe version scored an 8 for its paint app. So the Universe version has the aesthetic a little bit better. What about the articulation? Well, in vehicle mode, it's a fine fire engine. In torso mode, I think it's actually the best use of this mold for the torso, at least when it comes to him or Hotspot. I feel like things are more secure on him than they are on Hotspot. Truth is, the absolute best use of this mold is Onslaught. Nevertheless, it's a decent torso. It really is. And in this mode, well, we have the head that can go left and right. We have the arms that can go out. They ratchet all the way around. We have 90 degrees, actually more than 90 degrees. We have a double elbow that lets it bend all the way up. We have a bicep swivel. We don't have rotation at the wrist. Do we have a waist? We don't have a waist. We do have splits like all the way out to the side. The legs can go way to the front. They can go back, no problem. We have a thigh swivel. We have super deep knee bend past 90 degrees. We don't have ankle tilt, but you can score some pretty interesting and dynamic poses with the guy. Still, like, oh, and I just pulled his knee out, but that was me. Like, I don't know, something very action-oriented like that, for example, because he has the use of his ladder, which is correct, and I love that he has his ladder. It works like a third stabilizing leg, and you can score excellent poses with this guy. Honestly, I had given the Hotspot Onslaught a mark of about 8.5. I think I was a bit harsh. I think that it's actually more like a 9. I really do. I think that it's a 9. So, what do we have for this guy so far? We have a 7 for his paint apps and his general overall aesthetic, but we have a 9 for his articulation. He is scoring well. So far, he is at 8.5. I dig it. Let's jump into his transformation. We're going to do the fire engine first, and then we'll do the torso mode last. So, where do we begin here? And I'm not going to focus on this too much because I've already done it with Hotspot and Onslaught before. But we bring that out on the back. We open up the chest. We take the head, we fold it in, we close up the chest. By the way, of all versions that I've experienced of this mold, being Pyromagna, who I looked at with the entire Victorion set a long time ago, with Onslaught and with Hotspot, the head moves the nicest on this guy. Then we take the arms and we rotate them back and we straighten the arms out. So we rotate the shoulders back, straighten the arms out, and then we bring the shoulders up over like that. Now don't peg them together yet because we're not quite done. We're going to reach in and open up the 2 side flaps. We're going to take the ladder piece out, open it all the way out. And then at this hinge in here, we're going to bend it all the way back up and turn that whole thing around and close these up. Woo! Then we're going to take this red armature and we're going to bring it down. There's a little tab right here on this side and on this side. They go in between these 2 shoulders and notch in. Sorry, not tabs. There's a little slot on each side of this, and it notches between this tab and this tab. So this will come down, notch in, and once you have everything notched in correctly, you should be able to close up the back of the vehicle. That's the back of the vehicle finished. Nice. And I just wanted to readjust to make things a little easier to see. So we have the entire back of the vehicle done now and tabbed in. Like I said, just remember that this whole piece does tab in. It still rotates, by the way. And this piece does move up. So I think that that's really cool. All we have to do now is the front of the vehicle. And for that, we simply take the feet and bring them down over. We rotate this all the way around and this all the way around. And then we're going to collapse the legs. Now, the knees, they come out I don't know if I can show this. They come out and there's a hinge on the back here and a hinge way up in the leg. Just like it was with the Combiner Wars version. There's a hinge, that is way. There's a hinge back here and a hinge in here. This hinge in here is what kind of tabs in underneath right there. You need to bring that out and then you should be able to angle the leg up. When you angle the leg up, you bring it in and it kind of clips in over in right here. You just heard it clip in. Same over on this side. You do that, you bring it up. You bring these together, you clip them in. Ooh. Right there. You do that, you just make sure you have it all straight. And boom, in the end, here you have Inferno. I was going to say Hotspot, but here you have Inferno in his fire engine mode. And here we have both Infernos in their vehicle modes. I do think that this one is closer to the sort of build and accuracy for the kind of rendition of the G1 model that we would probably picture when we think of Inferno, except he has this and not a ladder. This guy has a ladder. Truth is, neither one of these is exactly correct. This is more like the sort of a fire engine you see at like airports and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. They both roll beautifully. This guy rolls great too. He's certainly longer. They're both fire engines. Neither one of them are exactly the right one. This guy is, as you can see, a much nicer red. So, transformation to this mode, honestly, I'm taking this guy out of it. It's quick, it's easy, I like it. What can I say? I'm not going to give it a mark yet because we still have one more mode for this guy to go into. A mode that, personally, I don't think Inferno should go into because he's not a combiner, but nevertheless, hey, maybe you dig these combiners that you get to kind of create yourself. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but if you know what Hotspot is like to get into that defensor torso, then you know what this guy's gonna be like. You know. You just know. Also in this mode, I guess I should show you exactly where you can store everything. The bucklers, really they'll only fit in this slot right here. That's really your only option for them. Anywhere else, and they don't particularly fit that well. So they can go on the side of his ladder piece, I guess. So then what do you do with the actual blasters? Because if you saw my Hotspot review, then I put the blasters there because that's where they seem to fit best. Well, I did mention that you had another option for the blasters. There's a hole right there. Now, they don't necessarily fit perfect there because of like their molding. Actually, it's probably better to use this one. I'm just going to double check here now for you. Actually, there you are. That's the best way to do it. I was trying to use the little peg on the side, but the handle he holds onto in his hand is the best way to put these on the side of the fire engine. And that's how you can store everything in fire engine mode. Pretty inconspicuous, right? Probably not. But hey, it's storage. That's how he looks from the top. He's kind of wide, but I don't know, I guess he'd have his sirens going. You wouldn't notice that all this gear's on him. And if you did, I suppose you would think that it's to fight fires, not giant alien robot Decepticons. Okay, we have one more transformation to do. Torso mode. I don't think the guy should be a torso, but hey, maybe you like the kind of, you know, made up combiners, so to speak. I know, they're all made up, I get it. But like the ones that aren't recognized combiners. There you go. The ones that you can kind of create yourself. And if you do, then hey, I'm going to show you how to get there. It's pretty easy from here. By the way, before we go there, one other thing to point out that I forgot. I always forget it on Hotspot as well. By rights, during the transformation to the vehicle mode, the chest should flip down and be like this. By rights. I don't know if it makes a difference, but just so you know. Okay, so how do we get to the torso mode from here? Well, it's pretty easy. We flip that up and pick that kind of up out of the way. We split the legs, we rotate them. We take the what's his feet really, and bring them back up on the side. Like that. Don't worry if the legs aren't exactly pegged in yet. We'll worry about that in a little bit. Then we come up here and we split his arms and we open out the shoulders really. So like here's the front of his body again. We rotate these, I guess, so that the tires are on like what would be the back of his robot body. We bring the arm down, we bring it up on the first hinge, and then we bend it at the elbow, and we have a little peg right here that goes into a little hole up right there on the shoulder. They go in like that basically. Same on the other side, except for some reason on the other side we have both a hole up here that goes onto a little, or sorry, a hole up there that goes on over a little peg here, and we also have a slot right there that's rectangular that goes over that peg. So I don't know, who knows? Who knows? So we have that done. Then we take this whole piece and we hinge it down and we open it out. After we open it out, of course, this is going to be the chest. We can make sure it's collapsed in, and then I think this is brilliant. I thought it was brilliant on Hotspot. I think it's brilliant here. We take the ladder and we kind of bend it up underneath, and then we bend the ladder up again so that the ladder goes up the back of the guy. I think that's brilliant. Yes, I just sang brilliant. We take this rectangular slot, it goes on over that rectangular peg on the arm to hold it in place. It doesn't hold that securely on Pyromagna or on Hotspot. On this guy, I feel like it actually like tabs in a little bit more. It's like it does seem to lock more. I don't know if that will last over time. Now, just in case you hadn't secured the legs, what we have is a little rectangular nub up on the thigh, and we have a little rectangular slot on the inside of the leg right there, and basically the leg sandwiches up over that. Make sure you have the knee down appropriately. Bring that up, and it just went in over. These are nice and tight. They're pretty loose on Hotspot and kind of loose on Onslaught. You can do a fix for it, but like again, you shouldn't have to. So there's the body. Then all we have left is the head. We bring the head up. We have two little black slots underneath, or starts underneath, and they go in kind of next to his neck, the hinge for his neck. So you fold that down, they go in there. Then you fold this piece down, fold this piece down. You take the top of the head, which is really part of the bucket of the ladder, and you bring it up and over, and then you turn the head around, and we have Defensor with red hair, basically. Oh, and I guess you'd want to pull those down on the side so that you could put in combiner limbs, if you are so inclined. I'm not, but here you go. I guess it's an okay torso. Here he is alongside the actual Defensor and Bruticus, so you can kind of see how they all look together. Obviously exactly the same for these two. By the way, if you have Legends class groove, you could always put that on the chest of this guy if you're so inclined. And so we draw to a close in our tale of two Infernos. Here's the thing, you know, the obvious question is, hey, which one is better? Do I replace my Universe one with this guy? Well, I can't give you that answer. You know, if you want a combiner and you want a ladder, go with the Power of the Primes, I guess. If you want like a more kind of accurate silhouette of his body type, then probably go with the Universe. Here's the thing. The Power of the Primes version is a winner. It's a winner. The transformation for him is a 10. Both of them have a 10 for transformation. The overall score for the Universe version, it's an 8.75. The overall score for the Power of the Primes version is probably a 9.25. It is a little bit of a better figure. It does have a little bit more posability. The only thing that's really wrong with it, oh, plus it has a better red. The only thing that's really wrong with it is it doesn't look like Inferno to me. That's it. But again, that's not an objective criticism about the toy. That's just my subjective take on what I like. I don't think you lose either way. If you're on the side of the debate for a universe, you win. If you're on the side of the debate for Power of the Primes, you win. And as fans of this franchise and fans of the Inferno character, we all win. And here we are once again, and he's a good figure. You know, objectively speaking, this is a great mold. They've improved the legs. As a combiner, I feel like the thigh pieces hold on better. As a robot, his knees are nice and secure. The conversion is solid. It's easy, but it's interesting. Nothing flops on this guy. You know, I think the chest should have been the chest of Onslaught, just like on the box art. You could have kind of flattened out the chest section, painted it black, and it would have kind of mimicked the window that's supposed to be on his chest better, I think. But even that wouldn't have been perfect. It just would have been better. Enough, though, that I think it would have made this like a almost spot-on version of Inferno for the modern age. I like them. There's a lot to enjoy here. And if you missed out on the Universe Inferno, if it was me, I don't think I would pay a premium in the aftermarket. I think I would pick this guy up and I would be quite happy with him. So, objectively speaking, it's a great figure. It's a nice, nice mold. Subjectively speaking, I personally think that this guy is a little bit more stylistically, a little bit more body type, what I'm looking for in an Inferno. Here's the thing. Neither of these toys are bad. Inferno is one of those rare characters that's been very lucky to get two fantastic iterations. Besides having a masterpiece. I don't know, it's a hard one to call. My final take is this. If you already have the Universe Inferno, I don't think you need to replace him because this is still a great figure. But if you missed him, or if you really for some reason want your Inferno to combine, then go for this one. Truth is, they're both great figures, and whichever one suits your tastes best, I think you're fine going with. I don't think you lose either way. They're both fantastic. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Power of the Primes version of Inferno. Let me know what you think about the Universe version. You know, I love to hear your thoughts about these little guys. As always, I'm going to say thanks for dropping by, for giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I know how much it's worth to you. I'm going to say again, please hit that subscribe button, as it helps me out so much. It makes all the difference in the world. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.